The silence on the bridge of the Imperial Will was no longer the serene hush of absolute confidence, but the dead, echoing quiet of a tomb. Fleet Commander Xyler stood before the main view screen, a silent monument to failure. Below, Earth continued its insolent, vibrant swirl. He had watched for 2 full rotations as the monstrous biomass he had unleashed was systematically neutralized by the planet's own chaotic biology, accelerated by the human retrovirus. He had watched as the small, rugged human shuttles, inefficient, graceless things, had prioritized rescuing their own wounded over gloating or posturing. It was a display of compassion so illogical, so alien, that it felt like a final, damning piece of evidence in the case for his own ignorance. His surrender had been accepted with a chillingly simple reply, "Acknowledged, stand by for instructions." There had been no demands, no threats, no triumphant declarations. The silence that followed was, in its own way, more unnerving than any weapon. A chime, soft but insistent, broke the quiet. "Commander," his communications officer reported, its voice now thin and reedy, stripped of all authority. "A transmission from the human command, audio only. They are inviting you to a parley." Inviting? Xyler's lips twisted into a bitter smile. A curious choice of words for a summons to the victor's table. "They specified a location," the officer continued. "Their primary orbital station. They have guaranteed your safety." "The safety of a caged animal is still captivity," Xyler murmured to himself, but he had no choice. "Inform them I will attend, alone." The International Space Station was, to K'tharr sensibilities, a primitive death trap. A fragile collection of modules and solar arrays bolted together with astonishing crudity. Yet, as Xyler's shuttle docked, he felt a grudging respect. This was the pinnacle of the Deathworlders' off-planet achievement, a testament to their stubborn ambition to crawl out of their own gravity well. He was escorted not by a phalanx of guards but by a single, unarmed human in a simple gray jumpsuit. The air inside was a familiar, recycled tang, but thick with the scent of organic beings, a smell the K'tharr had long ago scrubbed from their own pristine environments. He was led to the station's largest module, a cupola with a panoramic view of the Earth below. 2 figures awaited him. One was General Marcus Thorne, his face carved from granite, his posture an unyielding pillar of military discipline. The other was the younger one, Dr. Eris Thorne, whose eyes held not the fire of a warrior, but the unnerving curiosity of a scientist who has just discovered a new and fascinating specimen. Xyler knew at once that the son was, in many ways, more dangerous than the father. "Commander Xyler," Marcus began, his voice devoid of warmth, "thank you for accepting our invitation." "I am a prisoner of war, General. My choices are limited," Xyler replied, his gaze steady. "I surrendered to the entity that defeated my fleet, this planet, not to the bipedal mammals who infest it." Marcus's jaw tightened, but Eris stepped forward slightly, his expression calm. "That's a fascinating and, from a certain point of view, accurate distinction, Commander, but we are the planet's custodians, its masters as you called us, and now we have a problem to discuss, the problem of you." "I am prepared to discuss the terms of my people's internment," Xyler said, his posture rigid. "Internment?" Marcus scoffed. "Let me be blunt, there are factions on my world that would see every last one of you atomized for what you did. There are others who would dissect you piece by piece to steal your secrets. I am entertaining neither option for now. My terms are simple. Unconditional surrender means unconditional cooperation. Your technology, your star charts, your knowledge of the Imperium's military strength, everything." Xyler's 3 hearts beat a slow, defiant rhythm. "I will not betray my species. I will not hand you the means to wage war against the Imperium. I surrendered to save the lives of my crew, not to arm my enemy." "Then your crew will have a very short, very unpleasant stay in our solar system," Marcus stated, his voice dropping to a deadly whisper. The stalemate hung in the air, thick and heavy. It was Eris who broke it, his questions seemingly coming from nowhere. "Commander, before the Genesis strain became uncontrollable, your fleet was taking heavy losses. Did you send a distress call?" Xyler's composure flickered for the first time. He remained silent. "It's a standard military protocol for any advanced fleet," Eris pressed gently. "A preliminary report, a beacon to alert command of unexpected resistance you must have." Xyler looked from the son to the father, and a cold, terrible understanding dawned in his alien eyes. He saw their ignorance. They thought they had won. They thought this was over. "It was not a distress call, Doctor," Xyler said, his voice low and resonant. It was a conquest complication beacon. Standard protocol: when a primitive world exhibits unexpected resistance, it broadcasts our fleet's signature, our last known position, and a single data packet. What data? Marcus demanded. Xyler turned his gaze to the magnificent, swirling blue marble hanging in the void outside the window. Planet designation 734 Sol 3, classification upgraded from Class 12 Deathworld to Class 13, Fortress World. He let the words sink in. The beacon does not summon a rescue fleet, it summons an armada. It informs the Imperium that this system is not to be cleansed by a single fleet but to be pacified by a full battle group. It is a declaration that this world contains a threat to the Imperium itself. The color drained from Marcus Thorne's face. The victory that had felt so absolute only moments before now seemed like a brief, foolish prelude to their own extinction. How long? Marcus asked, his voice strained. The K'tharr Imperium is vast, our ships are fast, but space is immense. 5 of your years, 10 perhaps, but they will come. They will not make my mistakes, they will not attempt to land, they will stand off and crack your world open from a distance. They will not be defeated by your planet's ferocity because they will not give it the chance to fight back. The dynamic in the room had irrevocably shifted. The K'tharr were no longer just prisoners, they were a message, a warning, and perhaps their only hope. You have a problem, Commander, Marcus Thorne said, his voice now laced with a terrifying new pragmatism. You cannot go home, your fleet is crippled and your Imperium believes you are dead. When they arrive, they will not distinguish between human and K'tharr, they will simply sterilize this entire system. Xyler met his gaze. And you, General, have a problem. You have won a battle against a scouting fleet. You are entirely unprepared for a war against an empire that has conquered 1,000 worlds. You need my knowledge, my crew's expertise. You need to turn this fortress world into a fortress that can actually fight back. A new, unspoken agreement began to form in the space between them, an alliance born not of trust, but of shared annihilation. We will give you sanctuary, Marcus stated, the words tasting like ash in his mouth. Your crews will be treated not as prisoners but as consultants. You will help us understand your technology, you will help us prepare. And in return, Xyler countered, you will help us repair our ships. You will provide us with the resources your world has in such savage abundance. We will be your teachers, and you will be our shield. Eris Thorne watched the two warriors, one human, one alien, as they forged a pact on the edge of the abyss. He knew this was the beginning of a new chapter for humanity, one far more dangerous and uncertain than the last. They were masters of their Deathworld. Now they had to learn to master the stars before the true owners of those stars came to claim their prize.